Do you own or rent your home? Sure you do, and I'll bet it can be hard work. You know what's easy? Bundling policies with Geico. Geico makes it easy to bundle your homeowner's or renter's insurance along with your auto policy. It's a good thing, too, because you already have so much to do around your home. Go to geico.com, get a quote, and see how much you could save. It's Geico Easy. Visit geico.com today. That's geico.com.
But first, in our first segment, Dr. Fumi Stephanie Hancock, CEO of POB Psychiatric Health and best-selling author of, listen to this, 24 self-help books. And we're going to discuss the things that go along with holiday stress and anxiety and depression and all that. Dr. Hancock, good morning.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me. Good morning.
Where are you?
Well, I am in Arizona, Arizona right now.
Oh, so you are, what is it, a little after 6 your time?
A little after 7 o'clock.
Okay.
I think the time changed.
Okay.
Yeah, the time changed.
I appreciate you getting up early to be with us this morning, Dr. Hancock.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Tell us about some of the titles, anyway, some of the subjects of your 24 self-help books, and when did you start writing those?
Oh, my goodness. Well, I started off, I think about over 30 years ago. One of the few ones that I really love about my self-help is your vision torch, how to re-engineer your life story. And that was basically when I was in the throes of divorce. I was going through my own mental breakdown. I had attempted suicide. Wow. And all kinds of stuff. I had, depression, anxiety, all the whole gamut. And so your vision torch is one of the books that a lot of people tend to gravitate towards because it literally maps how I was able to re-engineer my life and pivot from poverty into where I am today.
Is that right? So that was your first, is that right? Your first book?
Well, that's my second. My very first one was just my life story about just going through depression. And it has to do with my background. I come from a southwestern region of Nigeria where my family had ruled since the 1280s. And so I'm an African princess, but someone who came to America to kind of figure out myself. Well, it's almost 40 years and I'm still trying to figure out myself in America. Go figure.
Really. No, that's good. I think that's a good thing. Isn't that a good thing that you keep kind of figuring yourself out and reinventing yourself and what have you?
Well, that's what life is about, right? You never get tired of doing that because, I mean, every time there's always a twist and turn to our life. And by the way, my heart really go out to those in Kentucky and other parts of the states that are really going through the tornado wrench right now. Right. And that's one of the pivot, right? That's one of the situations that we go through in life that we never anticipate. But when we take care of ourselves, it's important that we're always ready for when things like that happen. How do we pivot from this incredibly heart-wrenching situation to now pivot into something saying there's hope?
How do you do that?
Well, number one, you start by understanding that things happen in life. A lot of times, many of us, we have these bubbled up thoughts of, okay, this thing is going right. Nothing can ever go wrong in this day and age. Look at what's going on with the pandemic right now. That tells us a lot that things would always happen. So always kind of expect that things, just like you have positive, there's negative. So with positive comes negative. And just understanding that first helps you a great deal, so that when things hit, you don't find yourself the way I was over 25 years ago, where I tried to plunge down a bridge. So when you know that positive comes with negative, then there's a mindset of, okay, positive comes with negative, here comes the negative, what do I do?
You know, if you have ever had a loved one be diagnosed with an illness that did, in fact, take their lives, which I experienced, the takeaway from that, thank you. The takeaway from that, though, that I never really thought before was how little control we have on this planet.
That's right.
You know,
That's right.
I think we get the feeling sometimes we've got it all handled, and the reality is, as was indicated last weekend in Western Kentucky, the reality is our life could change in a heartbeat.
That's right. And let me say this. In December 2019, I saw a lot, because in my clinic, I saw a lot of people. They were writing their vision, their vision board and all kind of stuff. And they had this beautiful map of this vision that they have for 2020. Well, 2020 comes, and here comes pandemic.
Right.
And so here they are with their board, their vision board, which is completely opposite what we're experiencing right now. So it's important that wherever we find ourselves, do not procrastinate. Don't say in 3 months' time, I'm going to do this. If you feel that you need to take time out for yourself now, just do it, because you just never know. Just like you said with what you've experienced in your life, right? We never know. I have a lot of patients right now that are grieving because I had a man that was just sitting next to the wife. They were watching TV, and he thought she was sleeping, and then come to find out, she had just quietly passed right by his side. You just never know. So do not procrastinate. Be prepared for events that can set you off. But when you're prepared for it, then you're not going to be perfect in your reaction. But at least you know that it's something that you can walk your way through.
And something that's really impressed me, and it has a number of times in my life when I've been around horrible things like this event last weekend, is how people, we're a AM talk radio station that does a lot of screaming at each other about politics and other things. But when something really bad like that happens, it is phenomenal how people join together to help their neighbors.
Isn't it just beautiful? I was just watching on the news how even in Kentucky, how people are coming together, helping one another through this just horrific situation. And I looked at Thanksgiving, right? And I was watching Thanksgiving, how everybody just set aside politics, and people were just talking about sharing stories on the news media about, the fact that they had not seen each other for a year or two, and now they're coming together. It was just beautiful. And I had this moment, what if we could extend that? What if we could extend that to other times? Because frankly, a lot of people are going through depression right now. Right. My practice, I've literally surged from maybe under 70% to 200% now because of what's going on in our society. And sadly, we're not talking a lot more about that. We're all drenched in politics. And the fact is, politics is actually also one of the culprits of what's causing all this anxiety and causing all this depression and causing all that. So I'm so glad that you have chosen to use these holiday seasons to talk about the stress that we encounter, the depression, the mental illness. I think it's time for us to start pivoting as a country towards talking more about mental health.
We're going to take a break, Dr. Hancock. We're back with our guest, Dr. Fumi Stephanie Hancock. We're talking about Christmas, depression, holiday, seasonal stress, anxiety, and, of course, we've been mainly focusing on the horrid events of the past weekend in Western Kentucky, turning our attention more to the subject of Christmas, anxiety, and stress and what have you. There are more and more newer and newer psychiatric drugs out there, and yet it seems as a society we're getting sicker and sicker. Are the meds that we're taking for that reasons, for depression, etc., are they being used in your opinion?
Well, I have to say this to you. As a board-certified psychiatric mental health doctor of nurse practice, I do believe in the power of medication and therapy. A lot of times people tend to focus more on the medication or tend to go their way of just the therapy. Right. But when you combine the two, I often say that medication corrects, right? But then therapy sustains what's being corrected.
Right.
So a lot of times we have people, particularly during the holidays, they keep popping the pills and hope things will just, just fly away. Right. But when you combine the two, the psychotherapy gives you the tools to be able to maintain what the medication is being correcting. So I'm an advocate for both. As you use your medication, it's also important that you find yourself a psychotherapist so that you can understand and learn tools on how to manage your anxiety, which is often really high at this time. Some people go through seasonal affective disorder where it's Christmas and not Christmas for everybody. People tend to think that the holidays is just a happy thing for everybody, but it might actually be triggers for people. So know thy neighbor and be appreciative and be empathetic towards your neighbor, because what's making you laugh might be a trigger for that person.
Isn't that interesting? And why are holidays, and particularly Christmas, so stressful? Is it because of the fact that we've got to buy gifts for everybody and just all the stuff? We got to make cookies and we got to make everybody happy. And they say by this time of the year, most people are burnt out on Christmas. By the 15th of December, they're ready to be done with it. Have we just made too big a deal out of the thing?
Absolutely. Need I say more? You've already hit it. You've hit every point that I could even say. When my children when we were growing up, we had nothing. All right, and so we could not even afford the holiday stuff. But as a family, what we decided to do was after New Year's, that's when our holidays began. Oh. So that after January, the prices are slashed down. All these things are halfway. We were able to go and do our dinner without any stress. So you've got to understand your family. And this is what I'm telling my patients right now, because some of them are getting so wound up because they have to buy this, buy that. They have to shop for this person. No, know thyself, right? Stay within your limit. If you can do the holidays in Christmas, that's fine. January is there. After January, all the prices go down. Then you can celebrate. All right. So I often say to people, don't take this to another level where you're not stressed out, you're maxed out and stressed out.
Good point. This is John. He's on our phone line now. John, good morning.
Good morning, Jack, and to your guests as well. Some excellent points you make. And as a licensed counselor in the different fields, I certainly appreciate what you have just said. We definitely need the medication, and we need a therapy. And then I want to bring a little third point in there, some psychoeducational things that you are talking about, learning how to deal with stress and things, all of that nature. Some things are situational and we have to work through it, and some educational. And as you just said, there are some things that we have to deal with it, that'll be more dealing with some things that are, but as far as dealing with the biological aspect of it. And I appreciate what you just said, and I hope that people are listening and just try to deal with that stress in the best way that it's saying, and not put a little bit more on the shoulders that they're able to carry. I appreciate you so much.
What do you say, Doc?
Oh, thank you so much, John, for saying that. I'll tell you what, just like I always say to all of my my patients here, some of them come in and they just want to deal with that chemical part of their life. And it's important that we have to look at everything. Whatever you can't deal with right now, it's okay to say no. I often say to my patients, learn that word, N-O. I know it's a tough one, but you got to open your mouth. And at times you just have to say, no, I can't do it now. No.
And that's okay. Hey, John, thanks for your call, buddy. Sometimes that's the hardest word to learn.
That's right.
No, you just because you feel like you can't say no, and yeah, you can, and it's not anything to be ashamed of or embarrassed about.
That's right. That's right. That's right. A lot of my patients have not even told at their work, where they work, that they have mental health situation, and so you have them being signed up for 40 hours, 42 hours, 45 hours, and then they come to me huffing and puffing like, okay, is there a medication that can quickly put this away? I said, no, the medication is usually back to let them know that you don't have the capacity to work 50 hours a week, that you don't have the mental capacity or the physical capacity, and learn that word enough. So it's not everything that we throw medications at. But, again, I believe in the power of those when you combine those. And just like John said, there are some things that are situational. Medications will not do it. You just have to walk your way through it. And it's the tools that you get from psychotherapy that will help you to just walk your way through it. If you have a financial situation now, there's no medication, I'm afraid, that can they can get you out of that financial situation.
Right.
The medication can calm you down enough to be able to listen. The therapy can give you steps on how to deal with that financial situation. But at the end of the day, you have to be the one to say to yourself, I am worth it. I am worth the effort to get out of this financial debt.
Dr. Hancock, we're out of time, but how can we buy your books?
Well, it's you can find it anywhere books are sold. Amazon for one, and just anywhere, bookstores, anywhere books are sold, you can find it there. And of course, I just launched a new one called Narcissism. It has to do with narcissistic behavior. Perhaps you have people that are listening to you right now that have narcissistic, or they're thinking they might have it, or their family might have it. That would be a great book for them to read.
Fantastic. Boy, you're a great guest, and can't thank you enough for being with us this morning. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for having me.
That is Dr. Fumi Stephanie Hancock is her name, and you can find her books on Amazon. I'm sure you can find them just with her name, Dr. Fumi, F-U-M-I, Stephanie Hancock.